Nick says, is it possible for a man to have found a wife but doesn't recognize it because he has not submitted his life to God or does not have in that reverence for God, or just the case if he's not the right one? Is it possible for a man to have found a wife but doesn't recognize it because he has not submitted his life to God or does not have the reverence of God, or just the case, or is it just the case if he's not the right one? As simple as this. I go back to what happened to Adam. Adam didn't even know that he was alone until he finished his assignment of his singleness. Until he had finished his assignment of his singleness, then he recognized. But before he recognized, God said it's no longer good for Adam to be alone. It didn't mean that God wasn't enough for Adam, but God wanted to reveal himself in another way through one man, right? But when he was at a place of rest, he was able to recognize. When he was rested, God pulled out of him. But if you have nothing in you, what can God pull out of you? You got to know who you are. You got to know your purpose. And when God pulls the woman out of you, or connects you with what was already pulled out of you before you was formed in your mother's womb, you will begin to recognize the perfect fit because you finished the assignment of your singleness, and you allow God to bring you by green pastures. You allow him to bring you around still waters. You allow him to restore your soul. And now when you wake up from that season of rest, when God awakens you, she'll be right there to recognize. But God will keep you at a place of rest. The rest will be your distraction. Your rest will be your distraction. Sometimes God allows a season of rest, and it's going to be a season of singleness where you feel like I'm enjoying the singleness so much. That means you're in a place of rest. It doesn't mean you don't want marriage. It's like when you know you're in a rested place, when you enjoy your singleness. If you can't rest where you rest and you're restless where you rest, then you're not ready for that next level. But you know you're ready for the next level when you enjoy the level you're on. When you enjoy the enjoyment of the level you're on comes from the appreciation of the level you're on. Because you appreciate the level you're on, you begin to enjoy it. You begin to see the joys. But most people are distracted from seeing the joys of singleness, and they lift in their period of time of singleness. Many people are not single because of God. Some people are not single because of the devil. They're single because of them. Many people right now are not single because of God. They're not single because of the devil. They're single because of them. You're restless. You're not allowing singleness. You're not allowing patience to have a perfect work in you. And because if you don't get to a place of rest in singleness, you're not going to be the best for the next level. And so when Adam was at rest, God awakened him out of his place of rest. And it was because God, in his providential time, saying he was resting. We don't know how long Adam was asleep. We don't know how long it took for God to to pull the woman out of him, to patch the wound, to build the woman from the rib. We don't know how long that took. We just know he rested. There's going to be a period of time that you have to enjoy singleness before you go to the next level. Because if you can't enjoy any season, you won't be able to find the reason for any season, and you'll end up committing treason. You see what I'm saying? So yes, Nick, you can recognize the one God has for you, but you will be able to recognize her after you are in the rest of God. The rest of God means because God is at rest, I rest. Because Jesus is seated, even though he's working and standing the gap for us, but because the job is done, I can rest while I get my job done. I know that God is the promotion doesn't come from the east or the west, it comes from God. That's the beauty of it. But if you're in a restless state, restlessness will have you it will ruin the way you think about your singleness. But when you really rest in the rest of God and become rested as a man, when God awakens you from that rest and you look up, flesh, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You see what I'm saying? You start speaking poetry to your woman. But God knows when to waken you from that place of being distracted by your rest in him to be able to now to recognize the woman that God has for you.